everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerd for No Reason podcast. I am your high octane back for the sequel, but maybe not back for the next one. I am your host, Mark.
And I was trying not to burp while you were in the middle of doing that. Hey, I'm Raven.
Hooray!
I am also a host. What's up? How's it going?
Manners.
It's one of those things, man. Can't control it.
So how's your week been, Raven?
I went back to work this week after being off for like 6 days, so it was pretty nice. Most people were like, "Oh, I know you were off for so long. Here, have an extra special tip." And I was like, "Oh, thank you."
That's awesome.
I have such great customers. I love so many of them. It's great.
They're working me like a dog at work.
Ooh.
Are you guys still snowed in up there?
No. The snow was here for like 9 days, and then it rained for 2 days straight, and it was just like super hot and humid.
Humidity.
Humid. I want to say
Yes.
humidity. I don't know, man. Anyways, but yeah. So it like melted all of it away, and then we went back to cold this week. It was weird. One of them things.
Well,
Weather.
yeah, it's a little bit chilly today, but these past couple of days have been fantastic.
Nice.
So
Getting some good cold weather? Or are you getting like some
I mean,
mid
it's like
50s?
slightly chilly. Yeah, like
Oh.
mid-50s. So
That's like good right there.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I've done found myself caught up in a game that I was not expecting I was gonna like. I, like most people out there, have been caught up in the fantastic world of Palworld.
Oh boy.
Have you heard of this?
Yes, because that is all that Chris and his friends were playing for like the past 2 weeks. Is that how long it's been out? I don't even know at this point.
That seems about right.
That's just like all I kept hearing was, "Raven, come up here. This one has a gun. Raven, look at this. Raven, look at all these new pack things that we can do, and blah blah blah." All the new things. So how are you enjoying it?
Let me say this. As someone who enjoys Pokemon from a cursory I know the franchise. I know a few big names of the Pokemon characters. But I can't give you like a complete rundown of the names of the Pokemon. I defer to Chris for a lot of that. I'll be like, "Chris, what the hell is this?" He's like, "My boy, that's a Ludicolo." And I'm like, "That is the craziest duck swamp sombrero monster I've ever seen."
He's a good boy.
He's the best. So and I also very much dislike survival games, I will say they're called.
Okay.
Where you like Ark or basically the games where you start off as caveman, punch rock till get stone, then punch tree till get stick, combine things, me have axe, and then you go from there, and then like 40 hours later you have a factory that you've built because somehow you have electricity.
Yeah.
I dislike that because a lot of that is such a slog in resource management where it's like, oh, now I have to stop and go chop wood for 3 hours, or I have to go gather rocks or go do all this other stuff. This game gets to a point kind of fairly early on where once you set up your base, you can send your pals, not Pokemon, legally different, where you can send your pals to go do that stuff for you. So when you come back to your base, you have stuff and you can make stuff, and you have to do very minimal kind of the tedious interaction of things, which is very nice. So I've been enjoying it a whole lot more than I have, say, I keep bringing up Ark because that's really the only survival game I can think of right off the top of my head. Stranded, or no, Grounded. Grounded is another one
Mm-hmm.
that looks fun, but it really gets to a point where I'm spending 3 hours just chopping wood, for the
Yeah.
lack of better terms. And this is also super fun because once you get a couple kind of heavyweight Pokemon under your belt and do some stuff, you can be like, cool, man, me and this machine toting monkey are going to go out and kill some things. That's
You mean
so
your
much fun.
off-brand Grookey?
Yes.
Dude,
Yes.
Chris was showing me like some of those animals, and I was just like, what are they doing here? But then they just have that massive like cow. I think there was just a cow. He was just showing me a lot of the stuff, and I was just like, this is insane. How are they getting away with this? And then somebody made I forget the terminology right now. I don't know why my mind is blanking on it, but a way for it to actually be like Ash and then a bunch of Pokemon, and so you can give like a Pikachu an actual gun and just do stuff like that. It's insane.
Oh, wow.
Yes, like this game blew up. It had like so many sales. I think it's technically one of the like, or if it's not one of, it is the highest game that like sold so fast within the span of it coming out. Like it's beat out a lot of other games in that, system of whatnots. You can tell that I'm
Yeah.
really good at
It's all
online
right. Hold
buying
on.
games.
Hold on. I pulled the numbers.
Cool.
Let's see. Okay. So the it sold over 7 million copies on Steam in just 5 days of its launch.
Insane.
Also releasing day one on Xbox. Let's see. So yeah, it released on Xbox Game Pass, which is where I got mine. Let's see. Palworld saw a staggering we'll just say 2.1 million players actively playing the game. Yeah. Oh man, this is insane. Yeah, the numbers are weird for this thing.
That's insane.
So, but the thing I know that Nintendo's probably upset, and that's fine. They have every right to be. I mean, Pokemon is their franchise, and that's fine. So, but I really hope that Nintendo sees the popularity of what's going on with this and takes certain things and makes the next Pokemon game better.
Mm-hmm.
Because Palworld is also like, not only is it, the most obvious one is Pokemon, but there's also very much Fortnite stuff going on.
Yeah.
There's all these survival games going on. There's all these other things that work well in other games that Palworld is also doing. And it really is kind of fun right now, for right now.
Mm-hmm.
There is kind of, I think I'm starting to get like right at the beginning of that kind of curve where I really got to start putting in work to get levels to get the guns.
Yeah.
So I'm like right on the cusp of that. And boy, I can't wait to get a gun because I really hate this crossbow right now.
Are you playing it alone? Or are you playing it with
Yes.
someone? Dude, you got to get a group.
I know, and I want to so bad, but the only people I know that play games are like Chris and his buddies, and I don't know when Chris plays, and I think they're playing on Steam, and I'm playing on Xbox, and I don't think
That's fair.
they're
Yeah.
meshing right now.
R.I.P. man. Sorry.
So hopefully soon. I think that's on the next patch.
Sweet. Well, as soon as you get
But-
that fixed up, you got a crew.
Dude, it's wild how much fun this is. So, I got a few big heavy hitters that I really like kind of roaming around the world in. You can pick up the Firefox. I can't remember its name, but you can pick up the Firefox and use him like a freaking flamethrower. Do you know how much fun that is? That's great.
Yeah. I can imagine. You just
So
fire noise.
it's It's truly great.
Nice.
Now,
Now,
something else that I've been into. Are you familiar with the show? Did you ever watch the show At Midnight when it was on Comedy Central?
I don't think so.
It was a kind of game show thing based around social media and internet stuff, and it would have host Chris Hardwick kind of guide three comedians through kind of just doing hilarious little games based on internet culture type stuff. They would do like hashtag wars, and they'd make up hashtags to goofy pictures or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they've rebooted that, and now they're showing it on CBS, and they have a new host, Taylor Tomlinson, I think is the correct way to say her name, and it's great. It's just like the old show, which I loved, and they brought it back. It's almost the same format. I hope that this show stays on the air long enough for it to find its legs, because I think right now it's just suffering from newness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once everyone just kind of settles down a little bit and Taylor finds her legs and gets her hosting voice, and the comedians kind of settle in a little bit, then this show is going to be fantastic, because it is almost beat for beat like the old one, which once they started getting kind of bigger comedians and kind of figuring out how the show worked and everything else, it was on fire, and I hated that they canceled it. So, if you have not seen it, go check it out. Go look it up on YouTube. After Midnight on YouTube.
Okay.
You can, they put almost damn near the whole episode up on YouTube the following day.
Dang.
So, in like 10, 15-minute little clips. So, yeah.
Game show. All right.
Now,
Looks fun.
I'll tell you all that. I'm ready to get into this thing. I'm excited. I'm ready to talk about this week's movie, Ray.
Well, let's put it in drive and
yes.
soar on over that bridge.
Smack my ass. This week, we are continuing our Fast and the Furious franchise with none other than the aptly named sequel, the most sequelist sequel to ever sequel, Too Fast, Too Furious, Too Fast for Y'all. This is the movie name that basically ruined sequels for everybody, because now any sequel is going to be like Too Expendable, Too Furious, Too
Right.
Die Hard, Too Furious. Like everything is that now. So, Raven, let me ask you this question that I always ask, because this is your first time watching this movie. Raven, what did you think of Too Fast, Too Furious?
Oh my gosh. You know they were driving even faster and even more furious in this movie. I couldn't keep up with all them sick graphics they were showing out there with how fast they were driving. Man. Honestly, this movie, Chris asked me, he was like, all right, which movie do you like better? And I was like, I had to think about it for a second. But I'm going to actually go with this movie. I kind of like it more. I think that, there's not as much of as much of the family plot as you get in the first one, which you can definitely how Vin Diesel's like, we're getting our crew. Who did I just say? Did I say right? Am I okay?
Family.
Yeah.
Crew? Family?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vin Diesel. Yeah,
Yeah,
you said
Vin
all,
Diesel.
you said all the correct words.
I thought that I had said the wrong person, because I said his name and then I thought of Vince Vaughn. That's why I was like, what?
I
Anyways.
thought you were thinking of his character named Dominic, and I was like, keep going. It's okay.
Yeah. That guy. Anyways, I kind of like the plot of this movie, that it's just like, all right, we're here to do a job. I'm no longer a cop because I said, fuck it, I'm gonna let that guy go. And then he's back to doing cop stuff. And his homie over here like, nah, I don't mess with these pigs. I was like, oh, we're going for it. We are straight going for it. I enjoyed all the little race scenes. I liked, when you very first start the movie and it's like, yo, we need a fourth. I got a guy. And then he just shows up and everyone's like, oh shit, here he is.
Yeah, everyone like really like um like the death dealer showed up. I mean, it was just like, oh no, not Brian.
Yeah. Also, can't go wrong with my man Ludacris, so.
Luda.
That's literally what I typed in my notes. I was like, Luda! But yeah, this one was, it was also good. But I feel like I didn't get like, I don't know. I feel like there was just more plot to the other movie, and this one was more just like, let's race. Let's do a bunch of cool races. We're just gonna zoom cars around. I know the last one was also zoom cars around, but now I feel like this one was more zoomy zoom zoom. You know? I don't know.
We don't need silly plot to get in the way.
Nah, we just want to see
No.
cars go fast and do flips and crash on each other and stuff.
Boy, they definitely do that in this movie.
So, Mark, what did you think about this movie? I don't know how many times you've watched this, but I'm sure it's a few.
Yes, I've watched this one more times than I care to admit. I don't like this one as much as the first one.
Ooh.
But I feel like the parts where it does definitely shine through, it really shines through. We're introduced to Tyrese's Roman. We're introduced to Ludacris's Taj. And these characters stick around for a while. And this, I enjoyed this more the first time I saw it, but now watching it again and watching it more over the years, it just seems kind of very, I don't know, maybe watching it back to back with the first one, everyone just seemed so like they were trying so overly hard to be tough. And, it's like we're in the second movie and no one's kind of really settled in on their character yet. Like, especially Paul Walker, because no one else from the first movie shows up. But
True.
like there's certain scenes where Paul Walker's trying to be this super tough guy, and we'll talk about some a little bit later, but I'm just like, that's not you, Paul Walker. You're supposed to kind of just be, like you're not supposed to be this. You're not Vin Diesel.
You're just a chill guy that's here to
Right.
race some cars because you kind of enjoy it, but you also just, want to make a little bit of side cash.
But I do love our whole cast of characters. I love that Ludacris is just out there running street races and jet ski races.
Man.
We're introduced to Roman in a demolition derby. Devin Aoki is just being cool and Japanese. Everyone's just Eva Mendes is an absolute just diabolically gorgeous.
Oh. Hey.
Get him.
No.
Get him.
Stop.
Tell him how good looking Eva Mendes is.
All three of them. Hey. Stop. Thank you. No. Shut your ass up. Lay down.
So,
You ain't tough. Sorry. They hear one noise outside.
So let's kind of start getting into the meat and potatoes of this thing. You mentioned that you like the races. You kind of touched on what'd you think of the first race when we're racing around and Ludacris is like, I got something for y'all, and they jump over they
Good Lord.
raise the drawbridge a little bit for them to jump over it.
Man. When he was just like, I told you I got y'all a surprise, and you see the bridge start to move, and I was like, all right. Okay, first of all, Brian wasn't wrong that this man has freaking into everything. How did you do that, sir? How did you get the key to just be like, yeah, we're gonna go flip this little switch right here, and then no more bridge. The rest of the city is off limits to this bridge. Crazy. But I love seeing Brian, and then who was the other guy that went first? And it was just like, goes flying
Oh,
over.
he jumps over him?
Yeah. That was insane. And then your third dude was just like, nah, I can't do it. Pussy's out, straight up. But Suki, I love her. I'm not even gonna lie. I love her. She was just like, let's do it. She was saying a lot of stuff in the movie that I was just cracking up over.
She's a fun character.
She was cute, yeah. But yeah, that scene was wild. Because you saw some cars flip. You see their cars get just absolutely wrecked, and they're just like, "Aww."
Right. And they're also nonchalant about wrecking cars that obviously cost a lot of money. And I get it. They're probably, they're making money from racing or doing other illegal things. But, you don't want to wreck your car, man. Come on.
Exactly. How you going to race again?
Right. You can't race if you got a broke car. Cops show up. Brian gets pulled back into doing stuff. We go and like very quickly we're also introduced to, we get that great scene where he's like oh yeah, we need for you to infiltrate this drug lord, whatever, and this guy's going to be your partner. And he goes up to him, he's like, so what do you think a better engine would be, a Galileo 12 or a Galileo 24? And he's like,
obviously
I guess a Galileo
24.
And he's like, oh yeah, cool, good pizza, huh? And it's like, ha 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 ha. We were joking about that at work. Man. It was dumb, but it was yeah.
Yeah. Then that guy just continued to show up throughout scenes, but had no more lines.
Right. It was like, well, we got him from Central Casting. We might as well use him,
dude.
And then we're introduced to Roman, and Roman. Oh man, Roman. Tyrese. I love how he acts so tough in this movie, and we are this whole movie. He's tough. He's this big buff dude, and it just seems like too much. And especially, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, because once we get to the tryout race where they're like, oh, go get the stuff out of my Ferrari in the impound yard, and they get to the impound yard after this race where semi trucks are running over cars and cars are flipping and just pandemonium on the highways of Miami. They get to the yard. Tyrese takes off his shirt, balls up his fist, punch out the car window, and Paul Walker just opens up the thing, and they get the whatever, the package out of the thing, and Paul Walker goes, good, now put your blouse back on. And Tyrese goes, hater. And he says it very sassy.
Yeah.
Very sassy. When I saw this movie 20 years ago, I can pinpoint that exact moment. This is a core memory for me, because when he said that, me and my buddy were watching it on DVD, and we were like, wait a second. And we watched him say hater 20 times, and we were in tears laughing so hard. I don't know why. It's always struck me as the funniest thing, but just from him being this big, tough, I'm a big, muscly man.
Yeah.
Hater.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny.
It was pretty good. Oh. Yeah. But then, they get back to the place. Dude's like, yeah, you think I would let my car get towed or impounded? And I was just like, man, this guy's a piece of work, huh?
That's such a baller move, though.
Yeah, that's why I had all my boats there. Sir?
Yeah.
Who are you?
And then, and we're slowly introduced to, more to like all of these weird little things in this movie that we see later on in other things. One in particular is Roman is always eating food. Like when he asks that dude, he's like, "Is this your sandwich?" And he just starts eating, and then you always see him eating the rest of the movie.
Well, yeah.
This trope carries on for the next 8 movies.
Are you serious? Dang.
I shit you not.
Because Brian literally calls him out. He's like, "Man, why you always eating? You like never used to eat." He's like, "While I'm on the outside, I'm gonna get that good food." I mean, I can't blame him though.
Right.
If you know that you're possibly going to jail, you're gonna get that good. You're not, that way when you're in jail, you're looking at the slop and you're just like, I could have done it different, and this would have been great.
I could have ate that cop sandwich.
Man.
Did you notice when they go to Ludacris's garage that there's no roof on that garage? It's just a bunch of car lifts just out in the open. Like toolboxes and stuff just out in the open. Like there's no security whatsoever.
I don't think I noticed that there wasn't a roof. That's insane.
It was so wild to be watching that. And I was like, wait a second. This is just an open air garage, man. Like these guys are working on like $100,000 cars.
Yeah.
And easily like 50 grand worth of tools just out in the open. Where do they put all this stuff when it's time to go home?
I hope they have like a massive, gate or something somehow enclosed. Because otherwise, yeah, no, that was wild. And then,
And then we go ahead.
No, please go ahead. My good sir.
And then we go to the nightclub scene. Oh, by far the coolest nightclub I've ever seen in a film. I think, except for maybe Tron, but
except for maybe Tron.
No, like the seats look like little shrimps. It was crazy. But they take my dude, and he's a cop. He's a dirty cop who don't want to be dirty no more. And then they stick a rat on his belly. And this scene, apparently there's a lot about this movie that has stuck with me over the years because I remember that scene for years and could not remember what movie it came from. But boy, I sure remember that scene. And that is the biggest rat I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, rats are big. People don't really think about it. I'm telling you. I've seen some crazy sized rats at some of the places I've worked. I'm not even going to lie. But yeah,
Dude.
no. When he, had the bucket and the, fire thing, I was like, oh no. And then as soon as they brought out the rat, I was like, oh, I know how this works out. That's not fun. Ugh. I can't imagine having a rat potentially bury into you. That's terrible. That's so awful.
Man, even Mendez, I love her. I don't know how she can look hotter when she's wearing lounge around clothes. Like when she shows up at Brian's boat, it's like, oh, they're coming to kill you. And she's wearing not luxurious clothes. She's just wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
How can you be even more beautiful just wearing that? This is insane.
Facts.
But all right, fast forward past the nightclub, we get into kind of the climax of this movie where they have to Brian and Roman, they got to go with his 2 other dudes and go get the money and transport the money to the big bad guy. Excuse me. That I can't remember his name right now because honestly, this villain is just kind of forgettable. I hate to say that about the dude.
No respect.
But and then I'm sorry, I'm trying to bring up the guy's information.
I feel like your brain is just the loading
Carter.
screen. Okay.
It is Carter. His name's Carter. So we're going to get his money. We're doing this the cops show up, the local cops, of course they gotta ruin everything. Trope City. Cops ruin everything. And then we get led on this bonkers chase that I still think is one of the best ones of the whole franchise. Before we start getting into like crazy special effects world, this was super fun,
Mm-hmm.
especially when not only are we like zooming around the streets of Miami or whatever, but when we get into the garage and then like hundreds of cars start piling out and they're in different cars. That to me was such a fun scene. I was all about it, man. It was great.
Dude, those cops. They had so many cops following Brian and Rome around. For them to go into that garage, doors shut, and then they're like, we got him. And then those giant ass trucks come out, start plowing the cops. I was like, oh, what we got going on here? And then when all those cars just started piling out, I was just sitting here like, this is insane. Like, can you imagine having to like choreograph this as like a director trying to shoot all this? Like, just think about that for a second. Like, how insane that actual like scene was. Just to be like, well, let's do it. How many takes
Yeah.
do you think they did?
I don't even know. But that's also part of the reason why I enjoy this movie so much, is because this is very much, we haven't got into like crazy world yet.
Mm-hmm.
So to see something like that, and you know that all of those cars were really there. All those cars were really there. There was 150 cars or whatever, and John Singleton was up in a helicopter and goes, action. And sure enough, all these monster trucks came out, and we're like, yeah. It just, I mean, it's cool, man. I mean, it was really awesome. So, and to also think, because you brought up the director, reminded me, John Singleton directed this movie. The same guy who directed Boys in the Hood and Baby Boy, starring Tyrese, that he was the one who directed this movie, which is just wild to me. So
I don't know if I've seen anything that guy has directed. Sorry.
oh well, I guess we're watching Boys in the Hood later on.
Oh, wait. No. Oh, wait. Never mind. I didn't see that movie. I was just looking through. Anyways, keep going.
Okay. We get the ejection seat in the Charger. I think Roman was driving the Charger.
Yes.
The ejection seat. Just when you think like everyone's all nice and friendly and stuff, like, yeah, cool, man. Like, these guys seem pretty cool. Everyone's getting along, and Roman beats him up and then hits him with the eject button.
Man.
Dude.
That
And
was-
just as
that was
Brian was
wild.
just as Brian was about to do it, he's like, no, go over here. He's like, what about the airstrip? He's like, who said anything about an airstrip? And like, oh no. What do you
Jumping caught.
mean? Right. I've only told one person about the airstrip. And then turns to Eva Mendes and was like, ha, gotcha, bitch.
She over there like, oh, gulp.
and does what anyone else, they hop on a boat leaving, and Paul Walker does what Paul Walker be doing in Fast and Furious and jumps a fucking car into a yacht, because Fast and Furious. That's why.
It was so good. It was so wild because Rome's over there literally like, oh, you about to do this? Are you really going to do this? You can't do this. Oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. That's when he became the biggest bitch. Like, he was just
Yes.
like, I can't do this. And Brian's just like, nah, it'll be fine.
Well, see, Brian also, and I wanted to touch on this a little bit earlier, but Brian also is overly tough for no reason, because there's another scene to like the exact opposite of the sassy hater, when after Brian and Rome leave the police station after getting briefed or whatever about what the plan is, they say something to Paul Walker's character about, oh yeah, that's why you're not a cop anymore, or something. You know, you let Vin Diesel go, family. And they're walking out, and Roman's like, "Hey man, what was he talking about in there?" Paul goes, "Oh man, don't worry about it." He's like, "No man, I want you to tell me." He's like, "I told you, don't worry about it, cuz." And just the way he says "cuz" was like,
Dude,
Paul Walker, come on, dude.
I'm so glad you brought that up because Chris and I were cracking up about it. Where he'd be like, bro, cuz,
Come on, cuz.
shoddy. Like, because we had the captions on while watching it, and it was so funny because a lot of those words they would just leave out. So they'd be like, or they would just be like, bro, CUS. It was just so funny to watch and also to hear. I'm so glad you
Hearing
brought that up. That was
hearing
cracking me
Paul
up.
Walker say "cuz" in that way, because he says it in such a like that might. There's certain parts of this movie where I feel like this was not meant to be Paul Walker's movie. Like this was supposed to be either Ludacris's movie or it was supposed to be Vin Diesel's movie. And for whatever reason, like neither one of them had the time or they couldn't put the price tag on them to be the lead in this movie, which is fine because this all leads to bigger and better things. But yeah, there's just certain scenes where I'm like, man, Paul Walker just really seems like this scene wasn't written for him, and that's one of them. And there's a few other ones too, but yeah, I'm genuinely thrilled that uh, uh, you picked up on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's another scene I want us to talk about.
Yes, please.
So, when they first get uh I think it's when they first get those little cars. Or it might have been when they were like driving around trying to go get Carter's cigar out of his car. Where Roma's in the front, and then at some point Brian's like, I'ma pass him. And then he's like, keep up with me. But the way that he passes him is when he like throws it in reverse on the interstate,
Oh
flipping him
yeah,
off, or the parts where like Brian would just be straight driving like so fast and looking at someone dead in their eyes, and the other person's just like, what's going on here? And then Rome's like, he learned that from me. The two of them, they got a bromance going on. You know it. Even though Rome's like, you gotta stop getting in with the ladies. All you do is go after ladies. It's because Rome wants him. Let's be real. I ship it.
that's hilarious.
Am I
In a
wrong?
couple weeks, I'm going to ask you to reevaluate that stance.
Oh shit. Okay,
Let's see where you still stand. So I'm going to make a note now.
do it.
And this is great because we're going through them so fast. I can't be like 2 years from now when the next movie comes out. No,
Hey, do you
in a
remember
couple
what you
weeks,
said?
right?
And then
So
I'll be
yeah,
like,
for
no.
sure.
But yes.
So yeah, but you're right. They do, especially by the end of the movie, like they're genuine friends. They're not. They're playing around with each other and all this other stuff. Like there's such a. I really like the scene after they crash the car into the boat where it's like, oh yeah, you know, when he gets out, he's gonna fucking kill you, dude. You better get ready. It's
Hmm.
like, no, he ain't getting out. Wait, you think he's gonna get out? Come on, man. Think he's gonna get out? That very much kind of plays into like the way Roman eventually gets where, you know, he I don't know if second guess is the best term, but that personality trait that they showed in like the last few minutes is very much the Roman personality that we carry on through the rest of the franchise, and it's better for it.
Okay.
He's definitely not trying to be this in the same way. He's not trying to be like this thug who's I'm so hard and tough and whatever. He turns into more of a lovable guy, and the franchise is way better for it. So
I feel like that's a classic thing that movies like to do, where they start out with a character and you're like, who's this little shitbag? And then by the end of the movie, and then going forward, you're like, ah, they were my favorite always. We don't think about the time that they were kind of a dick. Something like that. But yeah, classic movie trope.
All right. Well, I think that's everything I got. Hold on, let me check my notes real quick just to see if there's anything else that I missed. Oh, they continually shift. Cars have like 47 gears.
Right?
That's standard Fast and Furious trope that never goes away. Every car has like a 46 gear transmission.
I don't understand.
Um, see, the acting from the non-main characters in this movie was absolutely horrible, especially the police officers and the detectives. They were bad actors. I'm gonna say it. Um, the black cop, the black detective. There was one part that was like, "What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "All right, cut, cool. You can go to lunch now, Jim." I mean, it's just like, it's like, yeah, we got the coverage. Fine, go to lunch. Um, it was not good. Let's see, garage. Yeah, all right, yeah, I think I covered everything that I want to talk about.
The main guy that was like the cop for Miami or wherever the heck they were was the dude that played Dexter's dad, and so that's all I kept thinking of was him just being like, "Now Dexter, you got to get it together, son. You can't let other people know that you're out here killing people." And so then I just imagined him saying that to like Brian or something like that. And that's all I could think of every time I saw him. I do want to talk about the cars. Uh the first two especially that they had, but also I guess the second two were kind of cool. But I just love the way those cars like look. I see some every now and then here around Knoxville. I definitely saw more in like Chattanooga, I feel like, of the people that were super into car scenes. I want to get into the car scene so bad. Those cars crack me up so much. I love the huge like spoilers on the back, and it's just insane. I love the paint jobs. I love Sookie's car. I literally put in my phone, I was like, I love this hot pink bimbo car, where she literally, once again, a character is driving around in a convertible. Her hair is just like ever so lightly blowing in the wind. When I had super long hair, I hated getting in my aunt's convertibles. Now that I have it shaved, it's like wonderful to drive around in convertibles. I don't know what they play in with in these Fast and Furious movies where they're literally going 160 miles an hour and their hair is sitting straight, but I need that in my life. Thank you. But yeah, I just really enjoyed. I hope that the cars continue to stay this like little silly looking way and it doesn't just become all straight muscle cars in the end of the later on Fast and Furious movies. You didn't say yes or no, so I'm just going to keep believing that they're still going to look fun and funky
I don't.
and all that jazz.
I'm really trying desperately hard not to give away too much of what's to come.
Man, okay, that's fair.
Because there is next week we're doing Tokyo Drift, and
Yeah.
that is the start of kind of the real transition, kind of sort of, until we get to Fast and Furious or Fast Furious or however you want to say Fast Four, when the movie legitimately takes a very hard line in the sand and goes, "This is what we're about now."
All right.
So, and I don't want to give too much away because it really does just kind of, we're going strange places. We're still in the shallow end here. Even with all of these like semi trucks running over cars and jumping cars off of ramps into boats, like we're still in the shallow end of this franchise. We haven't even got into the deep water yet.
We're just dipping our
Not
toes
even
in.
not even a little.
Man,
So
I can't wait
there's
for this crazy
I
stuff.
I can't wait either. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I can't wait. But I haven't seen Tokyo Drift in years and years. I haven't watched the movie all the way through since I saw it the first time. So, like, I'm very excited next week to like revisit this movie. And it's been fun watching these last two movies just to see where we come from. Like last week was super fun because and the same thing with this week, even though it still had like computer effects and some stuff which were kind of very wonky at times, but we're also dealing with like 2003
I was
CG
gonna say
graphics.
that's popular because it's like the beginning of that stuff. When it's
Right.
like, oh, this looks good, and you're like
Yeah.
looking at it from 2024 going, man, what we were doing back then.
Right. Um, but all of the car chases were still like there. Like they really jumped a car off of a ramp into a boat.
Yeah, they did.
And that was so much fun. I'm excited. And I'm also, because I was talking to guys at work about this today, that I'm also genuinely excited to watch Twilight too, because that's our next movie
Oh,
franchise that we're doing
yeah.
after this. I've listened to the books. I know where we're going with it, but I can't wait to talk about it with you when we get to like the last couple of movies where things really go off the fucking rails.
Sweet.
I'm so excited.
I actually watched some of the Twilight movies on that 6-day break that I had from work because I was just like, all right, Chris is still asleep. I'm gonna go watch Twilight movies until he wakes up. So I'm already in the mode. I've been in the mode for like watching Twilight for like the past 2 years of just like people send me Twilight memes and anything that's Twilight related that's like stupid, they all send it to me. My friends just know Raven's that Twilight kid, and I love it. I'm so excited for you to finally watch all the movies.
I can't wait.
This is my Fast and Furious.
I hope everyone who's listening to this that they're as pumped up as we are. This so much fun. All right, let's get on into the next thing. My favorite part of the week. Let's talk about the little things that made us happy. The little things that we can be grateful for. Not everything needs to be like this big old thing and all of this. Just let's be thankful for the little things. Raven, tell me what has made you happy this week.
This week, we went and celebrated with one of my favorite people on the earth. She recently had a birthday, my girl Abby.
Whoop whoop.
And so normally she would do like a birthday dinner, and this year she was like, I think I'm going to have a chili cook-off for my birthday. And I was like, okay, I'm there. Do I need to bring a chili? Am I just attending? She's like, whatever you want. I was like, cool. We love chili. Let's do this. And so we went, and there was like 15 different chilies for us to try. Some dude brought a vegan one. It apparently had raisins in it to like help sweeten it up. There was some really good chilies, and it was awesome. It was so nice to like hang out with her, and then some of our other friends that we had worked with when I worked at Maple Street. But yeah, it made me so happy to go see her and her husband, who I love her so much. She's almost like a second version of me, just a little bit older, just doing her thing. But she's one of my favorite people in the world. And yeah, it was a great time. We went out for like drinks afterwards because she wanted to play darts. And to the 2 different bars that we went, we were not able to play darts. And she was just like, this sucks. And so we were like, okay, well, drink up, and there's an arcade at this one. So we'll have a good time no matter what. It was wonderful. Mark, what has made you happy this week?
I play drums at my church. Me and another drummer alternate months, and we have just a good old time. Just swapping out and playing drums, and I love it because it gives me a chance to. Drumming is kind of like this great therapy for me, where I can just kind of zone out for an hour, play some music. I can work through some kind of things. Usually, when I'm playing, like it's fun and very therapeutic for me. And this week, and I've been playing drums there for a while, off and on, like we rotate on a fairly regular basis. And I've been playing there for more than a year or two. Not really 100% sure. So Sunday, after our first service, I'm sitting behind the thing and we're playing music as people are walking out. And we get done, but blah, 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 boo. And I hit the cymbals. And this old lady is talking to the piano player who sits up on the stage right next to me. And on the other side of the stage, walking past, is this old lady, and she's like, "Who's that playing the drums?" And she's like, "Oh, that's Mark." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I see him back there sometimes. He's good." And I'm sitting there going, "Oh, man, that's real nice." And she's not talking directly to me, which is weird because I can literally see her. She's like 10 feet from me. And she's like, "He's really good. I don't like that other girl when she plays.
Ooh.
He gets back there and he really knows how to play." And I'm like, "Arr." And I love the other drummer, man. Carla, she's great. She is one of my best church friends. I love her. We can sit back there and just have us a ball, just talking nonsense to each other. But she said that, and I was just back like, that is so nice of her. I don't like that she trash talk Carla, but I like this lady right here. And she had to have been like 80 years old. And I was like, "Thank you." And she's like, "Oh, you're welcome. You're so good back there." I was like, "Thank you." And then after the second service, I get done, put my sticks down, walk back out in front of the stage, start kind of gathering my stuff up to leave. And this guy stops me and he's like, "Hey, man, how long you been playing, or where'd you learn how to play the drums?" And I'm like, "High school." And he's like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I kind of been playing a little bit here and there. Like the only time I play is on Wednesdays and Sundays. Like I don't have a set at the house or anything, And he's like, "Man, you sure are good." I'm like, 2 in 1 day? What's going on, man? I don't know, man. My ego was riding high when I left church on Sunday. It was awesome.
Nice. I always like those random little comments that like people will give you, and you're just like, "Oh, I'm being noticed." Thank
Yes.
you.
It really felt nice.
Like something that you especially like never expect to just be like, "Oh, hey, you do this really well," and you're just like, "Oh,
For sure.
nice, very nice."
All right, Raven, tell everybody where they can find us on the social medias.
Well, you can find me on the Instagram at That's So Raven Ellis. I also hang out on Twitter at super_Raven. No, spooky_Raven. Goodness gracious.
I like super_Raven though. Super Raven has a nice ring to it.
That was my Snapchat thing. Yeah. So that's why my brain just fried for a second. Anyways, you can find us on other social medias at Nerd for No Reason if you like our silly little podcast and want to give us a follow, chat with us, tell us silly little things that you like, dislike, give us feedback, all that jazzery. Mark, where are you located?
I am at Turtles Do It on Twitter and Blue Sky. So hit me up there, and also Instagram. Hit me up there. You can use that to also, we are on Blue Sky now for the show, Twitter 2.0. We're there. We're trying to do things, still trying to figure it out, like if we can post videos there or post like hashtags, like generate social media type stuff. It's a whole thing. Like social media is such like a bigger part of growing a podcast. Like
it's crazy.
It's the dirty underbelly of like, hey, I want to do this podcast and I want people to listen, but you got to get out there and promote it, and that's a weird, hard thing to do. So
facts.
But yeah, it's cool. Make sure you follow us, check us out, like, rate, review, all of that other kind of good stuff, man. It helps us and lets us know that you guys are listening. Yes, please do that. I love you guys. I'm so excited for this next batch of movies. This is so much fun for me because I love talking about it here. I love talking about it with my buddies at work. I just love, I love getting into these franchises like this, especially these long-running ones like Fast and Twilight, because Twilight went on for a while too. and it was white hot.
Man, the days.
So, and with that, everybody, go and do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go ingest the coolest media around, and we'll see you again next week on the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop.